Hello YouTube. First video here on my tech channel. Just started. Uh, Please excuse me because it's not the greatest camera I'm recording on. I'm actually recording on my iPhone 7 Plus. I think this is going to be impressive, you guys. Getting into battery life, and I feel like that's a hidden feature that is going to surprise a lot of people. The #1 most wanted feature is battery life. But let's get into it. So ever since the first iPhone 2G that came out in 2007, the iPhone battery life has been, always not the greatest. 5 hours on the first battery, that only give you like half a day. And then it got better on the iPhone 4, and it increased by a lot. And then again, it jumped up again in the iPhone 6. What makes up the increases in these battery life? And it's in the terms of the battery capacity and the processing chip, the CPU chip, the screen technology. But yeah, I think those are the main key features that utilize the battery capacity, the CPU, and the screen technology are the only things that can really make efficient. And then shrinking the components inside, that's another aspect. So I think as technology's advanced, things are getting, we're doing more things with our phones. One of the biggest things that drain battery is the screen on top of the camera, and we're doing a lot more with camera. The video is, I would say, the biggest thing that kills battery in terms of after the screen. It goes to screen, then the camera, then GPS. Or those three key aspects kill battery quite a bit. And because we're recording video more and more every day with our phones, and now AR is a big thing, especially with AR coming pretty soon, and all these companies jumping on board with AR more over VR. AR, if you guys don't know, is augmented reality. And so this new battery has to be beastly good, and I think it will be. And so, like I said, I'm going to cover some features, why I think this battery is going to be amazing. This new iPhone is going to have a new type of battery inside of it, like a two-stacked, well, like an L-shaped battery. So basically, this battery is going to be a 2700 milliamp hour battery, which is pretty impressive because I think this iPhone edition / Pro, whatever they're going to want to call it, is going to be an iteration, a jump, basically an evolution of the 4.7-inch iPhone. And the reason why I say that is because next year they're bringing out a 6.5-inch OLED iPhone, which is basically a jump from, which is a bigger version of the iPhone 5.5-inch Plus model. And that came out with the 6 Plus, 7 Plus, the 6S Plus, and the 7 Plus. And so this size is comparable to a 4.7-inch model, which is you can hold it easily in the hand. And so I think it's just an evolution. So going off of that, the battery size wasn't very big in the iPhone 7. It was like a 1960 milliamp hour battery. And that battery is comparable to a lot of other premium phones, pretty small. Plus model, the iPhone 7 Plus, I get a day on very heavy use. I'll get a whole day with 10 to 15% left. And then some days I'll get a day and a half. So it's not too bad. So anyways, let's jump into it. The new battery, the new iPhone Edition Pro, whatever they decide to call it, is going to have a 10 nanometer processor, which is much more power efficient than last year's generation, which was a 16 nanometer processor. And so shrinking that CPU die, putting it in a tighter package form is going to give it it's going to use less power and be much more power efficient. And it's still going to be pretty impressive in terms of speed and performance, but that's a big deal. So the next thing is going to be, this phone is going to finally use OLED technology, which I'm very excited for because I think OLED technology is very far a much superior screen technology to LCD. But I think OLED is going to be really great because it doesn't use backlit display. So each pixels is individually lit. So if you have a black background with a color image, anything that's black, those pixels are off. So it's using less power. So it's a much more energy efficient display than LCD. So that's going to boost the battery life another 15 to 20%. And yes, some of you are going to say, but Ron, the screen technology, the resolution is getting much higher. The screen size is much bigger. So it's gonna balance itself out. Not necessarily. Knowing Apple and the way that they integrate software and hardware, they're gonna be able to utilize the OLED screen a lot better, I think, than probably like Samsung and LG. On top of that, the screen is gonna get ProMotion, which, if you guys don't know, is what the iPad Pro just got this year, and it's a much higher frame rate. So instead of the screen usually has 60 frames, 60 megahertz, the frame rate on the new iPad Pro is 120 hertz, and so that's a much faster, much smoother experience, and so everything's just super buttery smooth. But what's great about that and how it's going to affect you guys in terms of battery life is that it can fluctuate. So if you're just watching a movie, it can adjust to, let's say, 30 hertz or 24 hertz, frame rate, which is a much more efficient, and it's using less power. Same thing if you're browsing the web and you're looking at pictures, or you're scrolling the screen a little bit. It'll use less power. It'll probably drop down to 15 hertz or 20 hertz, around there. So it can plug. The processor on this new iPhone is going to be much more energy efficient. So like I said, it's dropping from 16 nanometer processor. It's just smaller die, and it's been getting smaller over the years. The iPhone 6 had a 20, going back to the very first iPhone that had a 90 nanometer processor. So as things get smaller and more compact, it's using less and less energy, which in turn give you more battery life. So a 10 nanometer processor is going to be pretty energy efficient, and still pretty powerful. Bluetooth will have Bluetooth 5.0, which is the current one right now. I think it's Bluetooth 4.1 or 4.2 that's in the iPhone 7, and so that'll be a much more energy efficient radio chip, and plus it'll have a lot more longer range. 1960 milliamp hour battery to a 2700, which I think it'll be around the 2680 milliamp hour battery to a 2720 milliamp hour battery. I think it'll be a 3 times jump in battery size. So that's calculating it off of 240 milliamp hour battery. So a much bigger battery, and them using a much compressed logic board. So using a stacked logic board, I think, is going to also help with the battery efficiency, because they're going to have to shrink some of the components inside of it, and doing that will use less power as well. So there's just so many aspects here, guys. You're talking about less, more space for a bigger battery. It's going, like I said, it's going to use an L-shaped battery. Much bigger battery than compared to what's on the 7 right now. Like I said, this is the Evolution power efficient processor. Like I said, a new compressed logic board. On top of that, you have ProMotion, you have Bluetooth 5.0, new screen, and like I said, OLED's a much more power efficient screen, much more so than LCD. So you're talking about a 15 to 25% much efficiency over LCD in so many ways, because like I told you, if you have a black image with pictures, there's no backlight on an OLED screen. It's just each individual pixel is lit. So you have, all the blacks pixels are turned off. So it's using less power. It's not using any power with the black pixels turned off. So I think if Apple introduces a dark mode, which would be really awesome, I hope they do. The Apple Neural Engine chip is another chip that Apple's been working on, and they've been prototyping and testing it this summer. And so the Apple Neural Engine chip is going to be used for AI, AR, augmented reality, stuff for pictures, a lot of heavy stuff with the camera, texting, and a couple other things, that they'll divert the main CPU processor to this Apple Neural Engine chip, the main chip. So it's using less power ultimately. So you have 10 nanometer, the Apple Neural Engine chip, the OLED screen, the ProMotion, the much bigger battery, a 27, up to 2720 milliamp hour battery. So with all these technologies being in this device, I feel like this could be a really key selling point for Apple if they market this as like this phone has a 20, let's say 25 to 30% better battery life over the 7 Plus. that will blow people away. I mean, they could sell this phone for $1,500 for all that matters, and I would still buy it. Like, battery life is the biggest thing for me, guys. It thinks the number one biggest feature that's been requested. Like, when people ask for, they want more battery life in terms of battery life competing with the Androids. But the Androids, that's something that they've always had. They've always had just a much bigger battery, and I feel like, utilizing everything, the software, the software, the hardware, the battery, the chips, making all that work together, you can get some really amazing battery life. And I think this thing is going to be just blow away. So I'll give you some numbers real quick to compare. Phone 7 has 16 hours of talk time on 3G. The 3G surfing is 12 hours. LTE surfing is 12 hours. The Wi-Fi surfing is 14 hours, and the video playback is, I believe, 12 hours. So 12 hours. And then in comparison, the 7 Plus has 21 hours of 3G talk time, has 13 hours of 3G and LTE surfing time, 15 hours on Wi-Fi, and then I believe 14 hours on video playback. So if they were to, say, increase that on the 7 Plus, going off of the 7 Plus, and bumping it from 21 hours of talk time to, let's say, 27 or 28 hours of 3G talk time, and then maybe going from 13 hours on 3G and LTE to bumping that up to 16 hours on 3G and LTE, and then, let's say, Wi-Fi surfing is then 18 hours Wi-Fi surfing. Guys, that doesn't seem like a lot, but that right there is a huge jump. You're talking about, we're increasing essentially 3 hours across the board, not counting talk time, giving it over a 7 Plus, which is pretty good battery life. That in my essence, and then boosting the video playback from 14 to something like 17 hours. That's a lot of video playback time for someone that likes to watch video. It could be the first true iPhone to give you 2 days of battery life, like on heavy use, and possibly 3 days of battery life. So I can't wait to get my hands on this phone and test it out. This thing's going to be a beast, you guys. I think if Apple comes on the stage on September 12th in a couple days, and they say, this iPhone's battery life is comparable to that of, it's the same battery life of that of the 7 Plus, I'm going to be disappointed. I hate to say it, I'm going to be disappointed. Some people will be okay with it, but I'm going to be disappointed. If they say it's just a little bit better, by maybe by an hour, I'm still going to be disappointed. But should they say it's 2 to 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours, even better, that's going to blow me away. That is going to be amazing. And so I think with all this technology, and they work everything right, I think we should get a significant amount of battery life. If I was to guess, my stats would be on Edition / Pro model. I think the battery life is going to be talk time, 24 hours of talk time, of 3G, 4G talk time. Surfing will be 15 hours of 3G and 15 hours of LTE, and then Wi-Fi will be probably about 17 hours of Wi-Fi surfing, and video playback will be right around 16, probably about 16 hours of video playback. About 16 hours of video playback, and then audio will probably be about 80 hours or 60. We'll say 70 hours of wireless playback. See what happens. We're just a couple days away from the presentation. Share this video with your friends. Be a monumental iPhone, I think, other than the new design, all-screen design. A much more comfortable phone to hold, and I can't wait. I'm excited, guys. I'm excited. I don't know if you guys are excited. And black's always been, black and space gray have always been my colors. But that blush gold, I don't know, it's kind of cool. Ran a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. You guys have a great day. Have a blessed one. All right, peace.